You know, in my second book, Redirecting Behavior, Verbal Judo Redirecting, I have a story about how to use the language of punishment or discipline. See, there's only one real principle for using the language of discipline well, and that is, quote, be disinterested when you talk, end of quotes. Use language disinterestedly. Now, the word disinterest means without bias. Very hard to do, that when you want to punish somebody, you're usually irritated, angry at them. They've done something stupid, inane, or against policy. If you express any of that, you make huge blunders, which I'll discuss in a moment. The principle is, whenever you punish, use language without any bias. Let me give you an example of how important this is with your children. When Taylor was around 7, he was throwing a football in the living room. Little one of those little rubber footballs. And I said, Taylor, no footballs in the living room, nothing in the house, please. I said, that vase over there, for example, came from Beijing, China. Sent to me by a Kung Fu master friend of mine. Over there is something else, over here is something else again. These things are irreplaceable. Please, do not throw, ever again, anything in the living room. And you know how kids are at 7, oh yes, Daddy, oh yes. 4 days later, I came home to a tremendous crash. As I walked in the house, from the living room, I hear a tremendous crash. I walk in. There's Taylor, there's a football, and pieces of that vase from Beijing, China. And I was so angry. I remember balling up my fist, my eyes glazed over with anger. And I wanted to say, well, I'll tell you what I wanted to say in a minute. But I had just come back from teaching Verbal Judo. Just come back from talking about disinterest. I was homicidal. So I knew I had to be careful. So I said very calmly, I said, Taylor, go to your room. It's 3:30 now, we'll see you tomorrow morning. No dinner, no nothing, no playtime. We had a contract, no football in the living room. There's football, no vase, you're done. Good night. Go. And he ran to his room. I then went out and hid a hanging bag in my driveway till my hands were bleeding. See, I took my feelings out on a bag, not the boy. Of course, I hope he heard the thumping and the bumping. At any rate, I didn't go see him the rest of the day. I think his mother snuck in here to do that. But the next day, I got home from police work about 8:30. He was already in school. So I never saw him again until the next night. At which point, I luckily never mentioned the vase. Other things came up. 4 days later, he comes to me with tears in his eyes and says, Dad, I'm sorry about that vase. I know it meant a lot to you. There'll never be anything thrown in the living room again. And there wasn't, and never were. Now contrast that example that I did luckily to how it would naturally be done by most of us when we do natural action. You come in, you see the vase, you well up with anger, you point at him and you growl, you son of a bitch. There's line number 1, hopefully. You never do what I say. Line number 2, of course he does. You never listen to me. Line number 3. 3 statements, 3 lies. Where's your credibility? Down the toilet. Now let's say you do the same thing. You send him to his room. Who do you have behind the door for the next 16 hours? I'll tell you who you have behind the door. A kid who's steaming in the tea of righteous indignation, righteous anger, rocking back and forth, getting angrier by the minute. I am too a good boy. I too do what he says. I don't always do that. It's outrageous. And by the time he comes out of that room 16 hours later, is he better or worse than he was when you put him in? Answer, worse. Question, how many times could you send your boy to his room that way without turning him into a mean, nasty street lizard that hated everybody of authority because he hated his father? Most of all. Answer, once, twice. Think about it. You see, the real truth is, when you are angry and you express anger, when you punish, you let people off the hook. Then they can say, see, you don't like me. He's angry at me. He's picking on me. You actually allow people a way out. You must use language. There's nothing natural about it. You have to be tactical. You have to be able to tactically control yourself and use words to achieve the goal. What is the goal of punishment? It's positive. To improve performance, to make people better. Do you see how negative language can never achieve positive goal? Must always use positive language to achieve positive goal. Nothing natural about it. That's why we study verbal judo, tactical communication. It's not easy, but necessary if you don't want to ruin people along the way. Thank you.